Evan,
We'll let you get set.
I'm not sure our secretary's here.
No, I'm here. I'm called in.
Okay,
Yeah.
Sarah, thank you, thank you. And
Okay.
can we just have a head count of who's on?
And Bruce is coming right now.
Okay, and I don't see, is Ann on? So Sarah can get a count of everybody who's attending.
Yeah, I
Good morning,
just joined.
Bruce.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm just getting on a mask.
What?
I'm just getting on a mask.
Oh, a different one. Are those the special ones? What are you drinking? You're not drinking coffee. Andrea,
Yes.
mute yourself temporarily because we're getting a lot of background.
Okay, so I was muted, it was frozen for a few minutes.
Okay.
Okay, I think you're safe to start, Evan, thank you.
Okay, all right. Are we all set? So we'll call the meeting to order now at 9:03. And has everybody had a chance to look over the minutes from the February meeting? And if so, could I have a motion to accept the minutes of February 12th?
I motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
I second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Anybody have any comments about the minutes? If not, all those in favor of accepting the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Bruce?
Any opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are accepted. So moving on to the land stewards report. Item 3 is Peter Morris with us? Or was he not going to be able to join the meeting today?
No, I'm here.
He's
Oh, good. Okay. Hi, Peter.
Hi there.
Have you anything to report at this point?
No, other than I'll be back mid-April, and I'll start in April to do my responsibilities.
Okay.
But other than that, no, I don't have anything to add. I've been
right.
reading the comments, so it sounds like there's some down trees and work to do after the winter, so that's fine.
Yeah, we've had quite a bit of wind, and with the drought last year and the number of wind events, I think we've had more than our share of downed limbs and trees and hanging branches, that sort of thing. So, and we're expecting another blast tonight. 30 to 45 miles an hour gusts.
Wow.
So it might be, if people are going to be out over the weekend and walking some of the open space properties in the tomorrow or over the weekend, just keep an eye out and make note of so that we can, if we need to get someone out there before Peter gets back, we should know about it.
I'm
Andrea.
meeting with Wayne tomorrow, Saturday morning, to have him assess the tree that is down on Champlain Green Trail. And Amanda, I don't know if he or Jim is going to do the kiosk, which also fell down.
This is on Champlain South, Andrea?
Yes. Amanda, you spoke with Wayne, Jim.
Yeah, it seems we're kind of losing her. She's going in and out, unfortunately.
All right, so anyway, I'm meeting with Wayne tomorrow to discuss some down trees and
To have a budget hearing before the Board of Finance on Tuesday. Some of the trees are going to have to be professionally removed. And one of our concerns we're going to express to the Board of Finance is we can work fine within our budget, but we need a contingency fund if we have to go outside of our resources to hire people to remove trees. We don't want to keep closing trails. And so when we hire a professional to remove trees,
Hello?
Yeah, we lost her again.
She might be better on the phone alone.
Yeah, yes.
What, Amanda?
yeah, I don't know why I keep cutting in and out.
Yeah, we're losing you a lot. Maybe it's Gary suggested, and I think it's a good idea. Do you want to try calling in instead?
Yeah, I'll try calling in. Hold on a second. But if you heard me, we're going to have to hire professionals to remove some of these trees. It's unsafe for.
I'm wondering, I'm wondering if Tim has the same issues of liability that Bonnie had, whether I know Bonnie was very concerned about volunteers using chainsaws and that sort of thing, but I'm just wondering if maybe we can't relax that that issue a little bit so that
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Verizon works.
Evan, what were you suggesting?
computer so that there's no feedback, Amanda.
Yeah.
I just did. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
great.
Amanda,
yes.
Evan was just making a point about volunteer use. Were you thinking like someone like yourself who's had the course, Evan?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be taking out large trees.
Amanda, why don't you shut down your laptop access and just use the phone?
I am.
That's better.
Okay. I don't have a large enough saw to take out, giant oak trees that have fallen over or anything, but that still, I think, should be. But between Peter and Wayne and Jim Mildren, maybe we can find a way to get enough manpower, and I'm certainly happy to. I have a little climbing saw that I can use to take small things up to maybe 8 or 10 inches. And I'll talk to Tim about that and see what he says.
It's a liability issue. And
well, I know,
so
that's why I'm asking.
Right, but I also think Jim Mildren's 82, and we need to be aware when we ask these people how far in this tree is down.
Yeah.
Because if you have to walk 30 minutes carrying chainsaw and doing that, where a professional is there, and it limits our liability, it's not asking people to stretch their abilities. And also, I think we shouldn't have just one person out there with a chainsaw. And Jim Mildren says, "Oh, I'll just go do it." I said, "Jim, you need to call somebody me, even if it's me or somebody, if something happens, you cannot be alone with a chainsaw. That's one of the reasons I think when something this major, it's going to be a professional. We're just going to have to hire the professionals, and the board of finance is going to have to understand that we need a contingency fee. And with climate change and high winds here, it's going to come up more and more. And I just, the value of life is too important to try and pinch pennies on something like
Okay.
this.
So,
So we should talk to Tim about it, but I think, that policy has been in place for a couple of years, and let's be careful about, assigning people to go off in the woods by themselves to take down, big branches or something. So let's continue to work on this.
Yeah, I agree with the problem of liability. I myself volunteer on the online land trust, and I have an accident where I cut the tip of my finger. I don't know if you can see it. It's flat. It doesn't end with the tip. But in my case, of course, it was my responsibility. I didn't sue the trust or anything like that. But it could happen that accidents happen, and it's better to have a professional that has the insurance and all the proper permits to do that type of job.
Can I
We also
circle back
have to realize
to,
let me just, one more quick comment. We need to realize that we are a public commission, the town of Old Lyme, and people view it as deep pockets for liability and lawsuits. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
can I circle back to the specifics of tomorrow?
Yes, please.
Because I'm meeting Wayne 9:30 to show him the tree. The job isn't very big. It's just the 30 minutes in that after meeting with Jim and walking in, I decided and spoke with Amanda that I thought it was a little too much for him. But it sounds like Wayne is capable and competent in order to do the tree work. And I would ask him too to inform me when he's going to go so that either my husband Fred or maybe Steve, who I volunteered without even him asking him, could walk in with him. But what about the sign? Is that something you spoke of with Jim doing, Amanda, or should that be for Wayne to do as well?
No, first of all, Wayne is a land steward on McCulloch and is not often eager to go off McCulloch. So that's a question I have to talk to Wayne. Jim Mildren has access to all the wood, and he does not mind. He enjoys doing kiosks. He enjoys doing all these things. But you have to remember that first, that Wayne and Jim were hired for McCulloch only. So we have to approach them and see. So that's why if they're not willing or can't do it,
contacted me, Amanda.
Pardon?
Wayne contacted me.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear that part. Okay. And he
I'm
expressed an
meeting him
interest.
tomorrow at 9:30.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that part. Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay. So no, that's fine.
So Wayne will do the tree. Jim is going to do the kiosk.
Right. But just make sure that Wayne is not out there alone, because sometimes they go out on their own to do it. That's the only thing.
Yep. Got it. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Any more commission member updates?
I just wanted to mention one quick thing. You had shared with us that someone hiking found a dead raccoon, and thank you, Claudio, for looking up some info on it. And I had roughly a year ago contacted one of the wildlife biologists from DEEP about a dog coyote issue on Champlain Salt, and I just sent him a quick note letting him know, and he basically wrote back and said burying the dead raccoon or double bagging it would be his advice. And just be careful touching the animal. He said not to be too graphic. Is the main thing you have to worry about is the brain. If there's any of the insides of the animal exposed. So he didn't seem particularly that he would recommend we send it in to be tested, but that's, again, that's Deep's point of view. It may not be public health's point of view.
Well, the other thing on that is that we received the email after the fact.
Yeah,
They said they found a dead raccoon. They went out and buried it. I thank them for their kindness, but I can't say dig it up so we can double bag it and give it to Dee.
so in
Yeah,
the
no,
meantime, in the meantime, just to follow up on that, I asked Michelle to put a link on our website to both Deep and to the CDC's pages on what to do if you think there may be a rabid animal.
Oh, that's a good idea. Thank you. Thank you.
And I have a question. Do we have an animal handler in town? I believe that it was a kind of a service or someone that we could call.
There is an animal control officer who I dealt with when we had the coyote issue.
Oh, okay. So do we have that his contact information in our website?
I think under the coyote page we do, and she's got her own page on the website too, on the overall town page.
Mhm.
But Greg, she doesn't deal with raccoons, does she? Is it normally it's with Dee?
I don't know what the range of her responsibilities are, Amanda.
I think,
Maybe
I
we
think
need
if
to
you
check with her to see what the order of calls to make. But I think a link on our webpage would be great, but I don't think we need to worry about posting this on the kiosks, do we? Because we
No.
so little room left in our kiosks.
There's enough up there.
Yeah, exactly.
I think if you have any kind of wildlife issue, you can call animal control, and she has some people or contacts if she can't handle it herself, because I know she's also basically the dog warden or whatever. I guess
Right.
that's what it used to be called.
Yeah.
Deals with dogs and cats, and but I think I remember we had an issue down here on our property with a raccoon, and she gave us the same advice: put it in, double bag it, and put it in the trash. I don't remember taking it anywhere to be tested.
Okay.
Is there, if you don't mind, if I volunteer to contact her and ask if there was any change in that regard? So how long was this event even? Was a long time ago, or?
Yeah, it was a long time ago, and things may have changed. So,
Right.
But I think from a biology point of view, it's burying the animal is basically going to put it out of commission, because the soil organisms are going to take care of it in short order.
Oh,
Believe
yeah.
me.
Yes.
Let me understand if I have this procedure straight. Greg, you're going to contact the animal control
No,
to find out
Claudio
the
is.
procedure. Oh, Claudio is.
I can volunteer if. Yes.
Okay, and then you're going to pass the information on to Greg Futoma so it can go on to our webpage?
Of course. The only thing I need, I need the contact information. I don't know.
I can find it, Claudio, and send it to you.
Okay, thank you, and I'll talk with her, and I'll inform to you, to everybody. Yes.
Right, good. And
Good.
you keep us in the loop so we all know, so we can
Absolutely.
respond.
Yes.
Okay, super.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Claudio.
Thank you.
Under commission member updates, I just want to throw out a few dates that are occurring, and events that on our open spaces we may have thought about. First is Arbor Day, and I was contacted by Fred Behringer, and Evan, I just sent you that email he sent me. He has some American chestnut trees, And I'm not sure, Evan and I have to explore this a little more, we all know the chestnut tree was wiped out. And he has several, and he'd like to plant them on our open space properties, which would be a wonderful thing. And immediately came to mind was Rook's Meadow. And so Evan and I will contact him and find out, and then maybe we could do something like that for Arbor Day. It'd be appropriate. The other thing that he's doing a research project, and he's doing a survey of invasive plants in open space, and wanted to know if we would like his assistance, which I think would be great. So we'll follow up and pass that along to you, and find out what's going on. Another day is Earth Day. We should give some thoughts about what we might want to do, and maybe line up
And
with some
those
other
dates,
groups in
Amanda?
town. Yeah.
Arbor Day, that's in May, and April is Earth Day, April 21st, I think.
Okay.
24th.
Okay.
24th.
24th.
I have it
Okay.
here on April 22nd, Thursday.
Oh,
I have
okay.
it in my calendar.
Okay. Well, we'll figure out the date. That's and didn't on
Amanda.
Earth Day. Yeah.
Excuse me, before we go, well, I just wanted to ask Andrew, did we target Earth Day as kind of the public kickoff for the Beaver program? So that would be an
That's
activity.
what I was thinking. I thought we had done Earth Day was the Beaver kickoff, and then National Trails Day is the first Saturday in June. And Stephen, you're on board. I was thinking maybe the Artist Trail on Champlain North. And the last date is, I got an email this morning from the Land Trust that wants to start the Hikers Happy Hour again. They had contacted the Old Lime Inn, and they were thinking April through September. Last year we did it in May. I thought April was a little iffy, and they were offering a Watch Rock for the first one. So we need to, I'm just throwing these dates out so you can kind of keep them on your hit list. And Midsummer has been canceled by the town because of the numbers, and the groups are going to be doing smaller gatherings. So these are dates that are coming up. I'm sorry, what?
2021 has been canceled?
Yes. The one this summer, this 21.
Mm.
It was in the selectmen's, it was in Limelight. That's where I found it. They canceled the concert Friday night. They're going to have smaller gatherings. So we might want to participate in something like that. But I think the most immediate effect is if we have things for Arbor Day, for planting the chestnuts, for Earth Day for the beaver, for National Trails Day. I think because we are a town commission, we need to think about if we want to do the Hikers Happy Hour, and if we do, what dates we want to do it, so we can get back to the land trust.
I would
And
support the Hikers Happy Hour, and I guess you would just have to coordinate days and trails.
right, I want to talk to Chris Kitching, because Chris Kitching and I kind of put that thing together with Mike Kiernan, and I want to make sure they feel comfortable. And originally we had done just 4 a year, May and June and September and October. So we may want to think, is that enough? I know July and August, we didn't want to do them because last year it was right near the 4th of July. And also we just kind of we don't have a meeting in August. We just didn't want to, commit to a date. People go on the holidays and,
Well, it's also it gets pretty hot, and
yeah.
I mean, so I think keeping it for the time being, unless we get oversubscribed, and in which case we can add a couple. But my feeling is we keep it at 4 and enjoy them.
That's my feeling exactly, Evan. Thank you. One
Would
thought,
Amanda-
though, maybe it just becomes a parking issue. If we wanted to do Rooks Meadow, I was thinking, bring your own libation. But how do you put that many cars in that parking area? I mean, that's the other thing. We found when we did these, they had 20 or 30. Parking became an issue when we did the one Champlain South on Library Lane. There were cars everywhere. I don't know. But, well, food for thought, people. Think about it. I'll contact Chris and I'll get back to you. I'll send you an email next week on, and if we keep it at 4. Any other thoughts on the Hikers Happy Hour? Andrea, I know you said you liked it.
I think it's great.
Yeah, I think it's great.
But I guess the question is when the land trust, and if we are going in on this with the land trust and say they do Watch Rock, my understanding is that some of us would be expected to participate in their hike, and likewise
We all did. Yeah.
It's not just, so when you're talking 4, that would mean 2 of their properties and 2 of ours, more or less.
Right. That's what we did last year. I was surprised by the email when they said in April and they were starting more. And so that's why, like Evan said, my thought was 4 was enough, because we tried to do ones that were close, like we did Champlain North, and then you could walk over to the end. I don't know if we want to repeat the same ones, because that worked out very well for parking. That's a short one. And if it's in May, if we have some things up for our artist trail, and also we're doing that yellow trail, it might be a good idea to do Champlain North and showcase all the things that we've done.
And Amanda, I have a concern with April. Is right around the corner, and there are so many vaccination still going on during April. I think for this type of gatherings, I would prefer to start in May.
Yeah.
As you said,
I think so too. And also, I think we need to reflect the policy of the town.
Yes.
I would agree with, I know other land trusts have been doing walks, like Lime has been doing walks. But I would kind of come down with Claudio on holding off. I mean, the president just said last night that every adult will have the opportunity for a vaccine by May, and maybe shooting for May or even June would be a better starting date.
I think if we did May and June.
May and June.
May and June and September and October, that would be fine.
Yeah.
So if they're going to do Watch Rock in May, so here's a thought, then June we'll already have opened up the artist trail, hopefully, or have some of the work done. So maybe we'll say we'll do June on Champlain North. How's that sound?
Well, the other option would be to do the Beavers on Ames too. In June.
But we don't have parking, and it's a long, we try to limit it to like half an hour, 45 minutes. Isn't that what we did, Evan?
Yep, that's what we did.
And yeah, because we was 4:15 to 5, and then back at the Old Lime Inn from 5 to 6 was the happy hour. So.
Well, we'll be walking that trail into Ames this week or next few weeks, so we could actually time it, and if not before that. But I think giving updates and activities and bringing attention to it would be something to highlight, both, especially in terms of the grant.
Okay,
And
well,
maybe start that trail earlier.
Well, when you do your work on Ames, time it for me, so you can figure if you walk from Evergreen over to the Beaver observation area and back, if you can do that in 45 minutes, then we could do that one in May. So I think we just need to have a time frame. That's my only thought, because there's certainly enough parking down there.
It doesn't have to be in. If we do Champlain North in June, we could do the other one in July or August.
No,
we're
July and
only,
August.
No, we're only doing 4. We're only doing 4. May, June, September,
Oh,
October.
I see. September and October.
So,
Okay.
and we only have 2. So I think our 2, you're right, we should do Ames and we should do Champlain North, but it's just which month gets what. That's the consideration.
Okay.
Let's
but-
work on that and move the meeting along.
Okay. Okay, so any other commission member updates? Okay, Evan.
Okay, number 4, existing business, Freedom of Information Act and meetings.
I will be really succinct with this because I want to move things along. Amanda and I, and perhaps other members did, I wasn't tracking who attended, but the town had a refresher course on the Freedom of Information Act and its requirements for all the boards and commissions. And I've sent you all just kind of a quick summary of it. The one thing I would particularly mention, which may apply to this meeting, is that all votes have to be conducted in public. So if we discuss an issue in executive session and we ask, should we pursue X property, we have to come out of executive session and then vote on that. But the motion can be pretty vague, so you don't really kind of tip your hand to a potential seller.
Okay, good.
Okay,
And
great.
likewise,
I know
think a
Andrea
point
attended
that
that
came
meeting
up
too.
for that was that when we have a work party and if we have
Yes.
a majority or a number of people, that does not constitute a meeting,
Yeah.
and doesn't have to be recorded as such.
Yeah, it's a good point, Andrea. Amanda asked a great question. What happens if we get together as a group? There's 4 or 5 of us, either on a work party or getting together socially, like at the old Lime Inn after a happy hour hike. As long as we don't talk business, that's not considered a meeting.
And
I think
one more-
the takeaway from that was that if you, even a small subcommittee, which is less than a quorum, would, if it has a meeting, that is subject to freedom of information.
Right, it needs to be
But
noticed.
just gathering and just being together is not the same as having a meeting. I think that was the takeaway.
Also, in the same vein, if we do a site walk, that needs to be noticed.
Yeah.
Which is, in my mind, is a little upsetting because you don't have to be specific, but it's hard to not be specific if you're doing a site walk and you're trying to keep, you're negotiating for a property. So we have to be aware of that also. So.
Yeah, let me just
have a
follow it up
forum.
quickly, Evan, about the sidewalk. I think you asked him a question. What happens if just 2 members went on the sidewalk or
Right.
3 members?
We split the site walk, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that he really was specifically got back to you, and I'm supposed to talk with him about FOI issues for Gateway later next week, and I'll bring that up again to clarify that.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
If we go on a sidewalk, doesn't the owner know we're on his property?
Yeah, you have to have owner's approval.
So we're not, what are we trying to hide?
It's a public notice. So if you list the property and you're still negotiating the purchase of that property, if it's on the market, other people are aware that you have an interest in it. Usually those are, as a realtor, those are private conversations when you're negotiating to purchase a piece of property between the realtors, the property owner, and the buyer and seller. So if you're putting it on your agenda that's being published in the town, everybody knows you're looking at X property. So
I'd be curious on your take for that, Evan. I remember when we were looking for houses, we had a buyer's broker, and she was really a stickler that she didn't want us to encounter other buyers, to be out of there by the time they were looking at a house.
Yeah, well, that's partially just scheduling and making sure that you don't have two parties walking through the house at the same time. But to the point of I mean, obviously, if you're going to be looking at a property, you're probably going to be looking at it with the owner, unless it's on the market. It's actually listed with a realtor, and then you're going to have to go through a realtor. As getting back to site walks, I think that I'm not sure whether the Wetlands Commission, we have site walks every month, and I'm not sure that those have to be put in the paper and 15 days in advance. And I'm not clear on how that works. We don't discuss much, and we don't make any decisions.
Right, but they
And
are on your agenda, and that's what
Yeah,
would
no,
have
there's
to
a
appear. Yeah,
Yeah, we have to have an agenda. Yeah.
yeah. So, okay, well, we'll check into that and update you all on that. So, I guess I'm next, and I think we discussed all the issues that I had on open space properties, the raccoons, the trees, and the chestnuts and the dates.
Yeah.
Any other comments that people have that I should be aware of, or?
The only other,
things
Amanda, the only other
Yeah.
comment I would have is another issue that Mark Cable brought up, and it seems to be a particular interest of his. And he's interested in doing combined open space land trust maps, particularly a McCullough map that would be combined with Lay Allen. And he said he's gotten some pushback about their spending money on maps. That's an issue that he's interested in, something we should probably think about if we want to help people go from one property to the other, because McCullough does kind of weave through that property.
Right, and we addressed that when we did the trails on McCulloch with Mike Kiernan, who was president at that time, and because they were waiting for that additional land they were purchasing, and where our two properties meet, which was the start of the Crosstown Trail, we offered them, the tree we put our map up, and ours is an official map. They had every opportunity, and they did not want to. So they need to, that's their decision, and we can certainly link it. We use the same mapper and everything, but that's their decision, and they need to make that.
Well,
So,
in response, if they decide to go to that, would you be interested in sharing the cost to make a combined map? I'm not sure it would need to be printed, but just have a unified map that you could access by a QR code?
I think we'd always be interested, but I think they need to do their homework. They use Lisa Nicolai like we do, and they need to come up with a price, and then we can discuss it as a commission. That's a commission decision.
Okay.
But we're always eager, don't you think, Evan, to do something like that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
I think that the more collaboration that we can have with the land trust and, even private landowners who, there are a lot of trails in this country that go across private land that are allowed by the landowners. But I think a combined, especially where we have adjacent properties, that a combined map, it makes more sense than everybody trying to do their own thing.
Right, and if you're going to have a Crosstown Trail, of course you're going to have joint maps. But here's the other thing: I've been informed that the town copier for colored ink is very expensive. So in the future, we will be paying either 7 or 8 cents per map that is printed. So when I come back, I will make arrangements so we have maps printed, and they need where they're stored. So when our kiosks are out, they'll be available. But we should really press people to use the QR code and make those things, available to them, and so we're paying less. But every time we make changes in our map, it costs us, we pay Lisa Nicolai to do that. So we need to be aware that we are also, if that is coming out of our budget now.
Amanda, just to kind of,
Yeah.
go ahead, Andrea.
Go ahead, Greg. I'll speak after you.
I just wanted I'm sorry to cut you off, but like Andrea raises her hand and it's hard for you to see it as you're calling in, Amanda.
I can't see it at all. I'm on the phone.
I realize that, yeah. Just to put this issue to rest pending Andrea's comment, do you want me to get back to Mark or do you want to get back to him since he wrote to both of us?
You feel free to get back to Mark because I probably won't be addressing things till Monday. So
Okay.
just tell him, but tell him the hiker happy hour, the 4 days. We want to check with the Old Lyme first, the 4 days, and we're timing Ames, and those are the two, and we'll do Champlain North and Ames unless somebody has another thought. Andrea, you'll figure out if we can do it in 45 minutes up and back. And okay, so yeah, and then the maps, and tell them that we're willing to do that, but we also have a cost, and that we'll follow their lead once they decide to do it.
Andrea?
So I printed out the colored copies of, I think, 3 or 4 maps, which I was going to bring to the town hall for copying, as I was told I could do. Should I hold off on doing that?
Yes, hold off, because I'll go in next week, and I need to set up how we're going to do it. I think we need to do an inventory of how many trail maps we have. We need to find a good place to store them. So maybe we go in and do like big hits, like 100 of each for each kiosk, and then store them. And then you go there, and rather than go in and print 20, because the billing is going to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
So
There was an issue also in printing. We said we would print an initial run of the 11 by 17 combined land trust open space hiking publication. And that's something I think you said you're going to talk to Tim or Michelle Hayes about, Amanda.
yeah, I have a list of, when I go in things. But my first thought is just to throw this out. Is Evan and I have a budget meeting on Tuesday. They were kind enough to postpone it till I got back. And I usually showcase things that we've done during the year to tell them that where their money's being spent. I will certainly talk about the grants. If anything that you all think of, email me so I can do that. And that we're paying our costs, and we're not going to increase our budget. But Evan and I have talked about is we need to really develop a contingency fund. So when we have big trees down or something like that, and we have to go outside and pay large bills, we need to do roadways, things like that. We need to be able to tap into resources. So if you think of anything else, just to let us know so we can present it to the Board of Finance, but also to highlight things that we've done this year. I know, Andrea, thank you for the grant rounds, the high school kids. We've got a lot of volunteers. We're active. We're very active. I'm really proud of all you guys. We've been just so active. We've done so many accomplishments. So let's remind me, I'm getting old, remind me so I can highlight these for the Board of Finance and everybody there.
Yeah. Amanda, what time is the Board of Finance meeting?
I don't know. I have to check. It's either 6:30 or 7 in the big meeting hall. And then
Okay.
I'm not sure where we are on the order of things. Sometimes we sit through other ones, but it's always nice.
Ridiculous. We've canceled apparently the big events in.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
What's that? Was somebody else talking?
I thought I heard someone else talking about canceling.
Somebody.
Oh.
Was that you, Sarah?
We may have.
No, it sounded like someone unfamiliar.
Okay.
I think somebody's call got merged. That was strange.
Oh.
Amanda, it's Stephen.
Yeah.
Can I just jump back to the to the maps for the walking trails for 1 second?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So in real estate, when we were selling subdivisions, we suffered from the same problem when a house design got changed, a price got changed, or even specifications for subdivision got changed. So what we went to is a PDF model online, and I don't know if we have one right now, but essentially our agents and the clients were encouraged to just go to the website and print their own version of the most updated maps. And I realize that we may want to keep some on site, but it's conceivable that we could take some of the pressure off by creating a repository of the maps that people could draw off of and print on their own home computers.
We do have them on our webpage. And we also
Okay.
have the QR code you can pull up on your cell phone when you get to the map. And we encourage people to bring their cell phone with them. So in case they have an incident or accident and need to contact somebody, especially if they're walking alone. But the more ways to get out, the better. But thank you for that. Because am I wrong, Greg? We do have our maps on our website, correct?
The website has the maps. Yes.
Yes, that's what I thought.
And they're well distinguished. I mean, you can immediately find them.
And you can print in black or color.
Yes.
So, one more quick thing, Evan. Remember, we attended the Conservation Commission meeting the other week, and because the reason being was because the Ames Open Space was on their agenda, and we felt that if they're going to talk about the Ames Open Space Commission should be represented. So Evan and I informed the commission about the grant that we received, and that that the trail is closed on Whippoorwill, and that we will be doing a wildlife/beaver observation area with signs, benches, etc. So we did do that recently also.
Yeah, and I wanted to make sure that that the commission members, the Open Space Commission, or the Conservation Commission members were aware that we were no longer a subcommittee of the Conservation Commission, and that the Open Space Commission was a free and independent body, and not subject to the control, command and control of the Conservation Commission. So that was a point that I think needed to be made, and I think that hopefully it came in loud and clear.
Was there
and we also,
a good response to that?
received, we received an email from the lady on Sustainable Old Lyme, we asked for collaboration with them to all work together, and then Evan and I got an email from Sustainable whatever Connecticut or Sustainable, thank you, Sustainable Old Lyme, says they're glad that we're working together. And then I think somebody else, I can't remember which organization in town, sent us. So Evan, Greg, and I are going to speak about our new open space plan, I think in April. That was Cheryl's. But we're all in collaboration. We can be separate but equal, right?
Right. And working together.
And working together, yes, yes. We better move this along. So I think I'm through with my property updates.
Okay, great. Next is Andrea. Take it away.
Okay. So February 28th, there was a work party with the high school environmental club that Evan has aptly renamed the Termites, MIGHT. And they did a really a tremendous job of clearing the stone wall to the left where the parking lot is, parking area is. And others went down the Pentway up to a point. And March 21st, which is an upcoming Saturday, and I'll double check the time. It is currently
21st is a Sunday.
It's a
21st is
Sunday
a Sunday.
from 2 to 4. There'll be another work party, and extend the invitation to any and all board members to lend a hand. And Evan, I think maybe you will be speaking with Ken to see if he could employ his landscaper, gardener,
Yeah.
caretaker to clear with some machine a new path
Yeah,
along the
mowing-
path.
a mowing
that we could then
Yeah.
go in and widen and pull up more specifically with the kids. Otherwise, I don't, maybe we would continue with the fence on the left, the stone wall on the left, but they're pretty effective. So the more work they could do, the better.
Well, I think they
Are you
enjoy.
that new? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think the kids really enjoy it. It's a way of getting having being outside and doing something together and having something to show for it at the end of it. I think that's always a great thing for kids to learn and how to do things properly. So that's I thought the work party went very well.
Evan, are you working on that new trail?
Wait,
yeah, that's the yellow. I got permission I talked to Chris Kitchings, and she said, oh, absolutely, go ahead and clear the Pentway and move the yellow trail from where the yellow trail last Sunday, or whenever it was we were out there, the 28th, that trail was partly underwater. So it really needs to be moved onto the elevated Pentway between the stone walls, and which will take it to the back of the parking lot at the Old Lyme Inn.
And will that need to be cleared by Ken's guy, or could we just go in ourselves?
It can be a combination. I think we could continue to work on that with the high school kids.
All right, so he doesn't need to call in his guy.
I think maybe once the major stuff. I mean, we'll have to use hand saws and clippers and get the major stuff out, and then I think if his guy can just maintain it with a brush mower, I think that that would be good. Once the weather turns warmer, but I think these work parties, the kids seem to be having fun, so let's encourage it.
Yeah. A quick question: is this yellow trail on our property, or is it on Old Lyme Inn property and ours?
I think it's both. I'm not sure exactly where the town property ends and the Old Lyme Inn property begins.
Okay, I have some surveys of that. We may need to do a little map update, or we need to make a trail and get it mapped for that. And
yeah, well, if you have a survey,
survey,
and we can find some boundary markers, either iron pins or concrete bounds,
hopefully.
or
hopefully
stone walls. Maybe it's a stone wall. Who knows? But
yeah. I think it was stone walls. I think we looked at that before.
Okay.
Are we in wetlands, dear?
No, I'm not. I don't think we need to worry about about clearing a trail, going to the Wetlands Commission. If we're gonna build something, there may be one area on the Pentway where somebody dug a ditch to allow water to go from one side of the Pentway to the other. If we were to do anything there, I think we might want to talk to the Wetlands Commission.
Okay, okay, I just want us to be aware of wetlands, okay.
Yeah, it may not be wetlands, but it does get very wet in there.
Oh, yeah. No, last year.
Yeah,
it was,
Peter,
it was,
you would
it
know,
was
yeah,
standing water for a long time.
Yeah.
no.
So continuing
Yeah.
with updates on that piece, Heather was wondering if there was an opportunity to fill in or flatten the ditch on the left now by the stone wall that is cleared so that it would facilitate parking. Just a, a comment to, and that if so, when and where and how could we get the soil, for example, to fill in? And then another comment was if the invasives behind that stone wall might also be cut back so that they don't continue to grow over the stone wall.
Those are all survey boundary issues that we need to look at a survey map to see. And also, if we're looking for fill or something like that, a good opportunity for our Department of Public Works would be for them to maybe come in and bring some extra soil in or something, or gravel. We may, if it's wet, we may need to be looking at purchasing some gravel. So we have to decide what type of material we'd like to use there. So when we get back, why don't we do I'll put on the calendar for the 21st, but maybe we could do a walk before and with the survey maps and just kind of confirm all of this stuff, and then we could go forward with that.
Perfect.
Good.
Okay. Okay. And, you know, Andrea's mentioned to me, and I'm sorry, I've been a little lax. I've been taking some time off, people. Thank you. T-shirts. And Andrea's going to address that, I believe, for the environmental group. They're well deserved, I might say.
So we have, I think, 3 or 4 T-shirts available to us currently left in our stock. So we're in a position to order some more T-shirts, both for incoming members, and there may be an honorary T-shirt to the Rockfall Foundation, for example.
Yeah.
And to the current, I think, 10 high school students, 8 or 10, that are in the current grade that we want to give a T-shirt to acknowledge, as well as the upcoming 6 for next year. So I sent out an email of a couple of shirt choices, and there's another one that I just received from Casey O'Brien that I could mail out of our present T-shirt. But anyway, there was the cutoff is 48 to make them $10 each. So trying to get people's input as to whether they may want another T-shirt, and if so, what size and color perhaps, and if you'd be willing to, we'd be asking $10 to cover the shirt for current members, but not for new members. So a question is white, gray, a light gray, or, you know, if you have any other preferences, and if you care about the style, or should I just make it maybe with Amanda's consultation? Greg joked, hey, and let Alexis decide. I thought that was great, but
our last ones, I remember it took several meetings to figure out the T-shirts, but we put that "Take a Hike" on the back in green, and we did white with the blue seal on the front. I have to admit, I did a light heather gray, which I like. And so in trying to keep them somewhat uniform, we could do some white, or we could do some gray, we could stick to all white. I don't want to see, I don't think any of us want to see neon colors and a sort. We don't want to be a rainbow here, guys. But, you know, kind of keep them pretty much compatible, 1 or 2, you know, white, gray, something like that. And if we order 48, that's $480 in my budget. And
But neon
Otherwise, I think
colors
it's
are good in
well
the
done.
hunting season.
That's true.
There's no hunting on our property.
I know, but I don't trust people.
I know, but
Yeah, you're right.
you can wear a neon vest.
Okay.
You want me to buy you a neon vest? Land steward?
So does anyone have any opinions one way or the other?
I think keep it simple, Andrea.
Yeah.
Maybe, I think make them all one color, do the light gray. And were you thinking of putting termites on the t-shirt or not?
No.
I had thought about
No,
it. I don't think, if this is more the land trust shirt, open space shirt, I'm not sure where that could fit in order those separate, because then you have a new setup fee and things, but, I do
I
want
think
that
just-
range given.
Well, that was an sort of almost an off-colored comment, but I think just having some open space shirts to hand out to the work party people, right, makes sense.
I also think I'd like our take a hike on the back, but also if we do the Florence Griswold, it'd be nice to hand a few out to them if we do the artist trail. I think we should have a surplus, and Andrew and I'll figure out the details and we'll send you around an email. But we might switch. Any thoughts to switching to light gray from white, or do you?
I support the changing from white to light gray or any other color, just for the change. It would be nice.
Okay, so now we don't have to be spotless. Light gray, a little room for a little more forgiving.
Yeah.
Okay, so Andrea and I'll work on that in the next week, and we'll send out and we'll figure out sizes. I'm thinking about maybe not ordering smalls, going medium, large, extra large. I think you tell people if they're too big, they'll shrink. If they're too small, they'll go up a size. So
that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Thank you, gentlemen and women. So, Andrea, more?
Just about grants.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't have the agenda in front of me. I don't know if this is,
Yeah, you're up.
all right. So, Rockfall Foundation had awarded us $2,500 for this beaver observation wildlife area. And on the 23rd, Quinn Griswold, Amanda, Evan, Greg, the writer, and I are going to meet with Liz, Brittany, and Tony's last name, who's escapes me, from Rockfall, and we're going to walk in. They're going to present us the actual check and then a public relations check, and we're going to walk through the site and back. We are still waiting on the Hartford Audubon Society. And I wrote them, but have not yet heard, but perhaps today's emails. And DEEP, I haven't checked the site recently, and I did not get I wrote Amy Patterson, but have not yet heard back as to what is happening with that. But there are other grants that I'm identifying and following up on. And I certainly have a good list for the end of the year and to be due in January that could give up to like $25,000 towards land acquisition, for example, or other activities. And even with regards to Sustainable Connecticut, I'm learning more about their outreach, and they have, with other towns, provided stipends to interns or stewards to help with invasive species clearing and different grid work or planting. So it's just depending upon various goals that we might have or whatever might come of the artist trail, there may be opportunity to also tap into other sources of funding that are more local and close to home.
I'd like to put a thank you for the grants, and I think we all ought to make a wish list. And Andrea can maybe match it up, but definitely document storage and cloud access would be a great one. And Evan, we ought to mention that we're actively seeking grants in the budget hearing meeting next week. Yeah, these are wonderful opportunities.
We are also trying to make some inroads with the legislation that would allow the towns throughout the state of Connecticut to institute a limited fee for real estate transactions paid by the buyer, who would be the beneficiaries. And that money would go towards stewardship, but not for, in the governor's budget, would go for, that money could be used for stewardship, but not for open space acquisition, which was the point. But they're saying that the state and the legislators are saying it would not be used for acquisition until a town is in compliance with state affordable housing regulations. So until Old Lyme gets to a point where we are in compliance with state regulation on affordable housing, we could not, even if we instituted that fee, that it would not be we couldn't use the money to acquire open space, which is very disappointing to me. But
I think so too.
But we could, in terms of maintaining trails and building, walkways and bridges, we could use it for that, for stewardship expenses, but not for acquisition.
Right. One last reminder for that photo op, if you all would wear your Old Lyme open space t-shirts, it'd be great. So,
good.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else, Andrea?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Moving along to inland wetlands report. And Gary,
Evan, you missed Stephen. You missed Stephen.
I'm looking at. Sorry, I'm looking at my.
Sorry, we skipped him last month. I can't do it 2 months in a row.
my apologies. I have a printed copy of the old agenda, and the new agenda I haven't printed. So Stephen, take it away.
Yeah, no worries. I'll keep it brief. So we are making progress on the artist trail. I feel like we're caught a little bit between some transitions that are taking place around the Florence Griswold Museum, particularly to the north with the Roger Tory Peterson new facility. Alicia Millardo has assured me that when their landscape architect gets in their loop, she's going to bring me in. And hopefully we can add to the existing artist trail that Florence Griswold Museum has set up. In addition, I've reached out to Michael Duffy, who's the new head of the Lyme Art Academy, and they have an interest in moving forward in a collaborative way with the Florence Griswold Museum, us, and Roger Tory Peterson. So it's, again, a street crossing, which we have to figure out a safe way to do that. And the only other thing I want to note for everyone or share with everyone is that there is a forest bathing repetitive event that is happening this Saturday at the Florence Griswold Museum. The
Oh, nice.
price, yeah, it's fascinating. The price, though, I believe is $45 per member
Wow.
to basically bathe in the forest of the Florence Griswold Museum.
Tell them ours is free across the street.
That's what I'm thinking. We really are offering an extraordinary, value. I'm charging my family $20 every time we go out now. But
Well,
yeah,
I have two comments. One, when you're meeting with all these people, figure out what T-shirt size they are. That's one. And two, I was in Venice, Florida a couple of times, and they just did a redo of their downtown area. And where their walkways are, they have embedded in the roadway lights that flash, little ones like LEDs that tell you when someone's in the walkway. So with all these walkways going across, I thought it was a great idea. It just really caught your eye and made because there's a lot of people down here, made them aware of people in walkways. I thought it was a great idea.
I like that idea. And it sounds like a way to announce, I believe there's a pad on either side that triggers when someone wants to cross. So fortunately, we're dealing with state highways, so we're going to have to keep that in mind. But anyway, progress on that front. And I really like your idea about kicking off some collaborative event on June 5th. So I will use that.
Yeah, put
date.
that out there. Yeah, National Trails Day be a great way to showcase it. Yeah.
I think it anchors our efforts nicely.
Yeah.
Steve, I'm going to be talking with two of the architects for the Roger Tory Peterson Center this afternoon. Later this afternoon, they wanted to get some community feedback as to what the community was looking for in their designs for the property, for the Bee and Thistle property. And I'm going to talk about linking the Florence Griswold Museum trail and whatever they have in mind for the Bee and Thistle property. And I have also already talked to Claudia Weicker, the chairman of the board of RTP. And she thinks that linking the open space and the Florence Griswold and the RTP would be, and if the Art Academy or the Art Association, I'm not sure which one, you get everything linked, would be a great boon to all of the organizations.
Agreed,
And
Evan.
another thought, Evan, is the Halls Road program, because they'll be working with probably DOT. Maybe we can talk about roadways and crosswalks. Just remember, people, we're looking for T-shirt sizes, because once they start wearing our open space T-shirts, they're part of our group. So this would be a great way to incorporate everybody into that, into the artist trail, into Champlain North open space. So, and Stephen, you might remind them when you're dealing with the college about. Evan and I would like to inspect the conservation easement over there, because at some point it might be great to link Champlain North and Champlain South. Just keeping it in the future.
Absolutely. I will make sure that happens. Michael Duffy happens to be one of my neighbors. So
good.
I will, when you're back in town, I'll set that up.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else to add?
Okay, let's move on to, because we got 45 minutes left and we need to
Okay.
keep going here. Inland wetlands has gotten quite busy. We have a couple of things that we're working on that will be coming up we have a site walk coming up on the 17th. One of the properties is 7 Sandpiper Road, where we'll be dealing with some cutting at Eklund Pond. There have been some cutting in the area that was designated a no cutting zone. So we'll be looking at that on the 17th. We also there was a property on Jericho at 6 Jericho where there was a clear cut down to a wetland and maybe
I saw that
onto
one when I was hiking there. Yeah.
land trust property. So we've been
Yeah.
looking at, we've done the site walk, but that we'll be talking about that and making a decision on that on the 23rd. So we've got, I think the one that impacts open space most is the one on Sandpiper, next door to the one that you and I looked at, Amanda, and talked to the
Right.
talk to the owner. So
doctor.
we're going to, yep. And so we can make some recommendations as to if it's really been cleared, then we need to make a recommendation as far as I'm concerned to replant with native species the area that was cut that shouldn't have been cut.
Evan, would it be appropriate if I came on that site walk with you all on the 17th? Or is that makes no difference? You tell me.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll check with the chairman
Rachel?
and see
Yeah.
with Rachel and yeah.
Yeah, just let me know. If not, just
Yeah.
and I don't mind not going. I just would like to have a conversation with you afterwards. Let me know. And just mention Nancy Ballick has a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
We talked to the other property owner about doing a natural garden. We've got to stop people from clear cutting, and I worry
Right.
about the erosion into Eklund Pond.
Yeah. Well, it's
All
really
our meetings, excuse me, all our
Go
meetings
ahead.
are open to the public.
Right, but sometimes you don't need all of us looking down. And one more quick thought on that is when you're down there, look over to the right, because I know when Audubon that owns that lot, they brought some small equipment in to do some test sites there. I'm just not sure how that runoff is, because that's a very steep incline.
We'll take a look at that.
Okay, yeah, just look over there and see. Thank you.
I have a question for you, Evan.
Yeah.
So the wetlands meeting is on the 17th, you said?
That's the site walk.
The site walk.
There's a meeting. The meeting is on the 23rd.
Okay. At that meeting, would it be appropriate to mention or question about the wetland response to the bridge repair on Bartholomew?
Yeah, well, there'll be a the meeting on the 23rd is a public hearing because of the Halls Road big Y proposal for a gas station.
That's the big public hearing. Okay.
I think that's going to be a
That would
big
be
one.
priority. But is there, and so if you discuss the Bartholomew, which is a smaller issue compared to the other ones, does that have to go through the whole committee, or is that just a question of learning about the protocol?
I think what needs the best way to handle that is to talk to Dan, the wetlands enforcement agent, and he can bring it to the he can bring it to the commission, and we can decide whether it needs commission approval or whether we can do an administrative permit through Dan.
I think, Andrea,
It's a small
you
enough.
have to make it, yeah. Don't you have to make an application? There's a procedure to follow.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have a paperwork.
First, the first contact is with Dan Barrett.
Yeah. If you have any problem, Andrea, let me know. I can.
Well, I don't
Yeah,
intend
no.
to do it. I just was asked about, I'm just,
Oh.
it was just with regards to the Girl Scout.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's really not my thing. I was just curious.
Yeah.
So, you know, just.
No, it would
Okay.
be.
Why don't we follow up on that outside the meeting? I'll make a note of that. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so that's all I have for unless Gary, you have anything else that you want to mention on wetlands?
No, I'm good.
Okay, good. Then you're up on the Conservation Commission.
Finally. As Amanda mentioned earlier, we had a couple of distinguished guests at the Conservation Commission meeting.
Oh, I'm
And we
distinguished now.
were totally surprised. It was Amanda and Evan. And what got their interest is we had Ames on our agenda. And at the time, we weren't even sure why we had it on there, but it turns out that they had asked me, because we lost our cross-town trail underwater, they asked me if I could find another. Well, I'll explain that one later then.
Okay,
Asked me if I could find another way around the water, the trail that was closed on Ames. And so I went far south as I could go, and I believe we could put a trail through there if that was something that would interest the Open Space Commission. There is a way to get a trail there, even though, so we go around the water. You have to walk up Whippoorwill about a quarter of a mile, which is not ideal. But at least it gets you the crosstown trail from the old Lime Inn to North Champlain to the trust property into Ames, cross Whippoorwill into McCullough, up Lay Allen to Lord's Cove. So that's a pretty long haul with only maybe a quarter of a mile on the highway. So
you know, that crosstown trail that you're talking about hasn't been discussed or anything. I think we need to consult with the land trust, because they're not, the only crosstown trail at this point is Lay Allen and McCullough. That was the start.
It's fine if you want to discuss it with them. Discuss it with them. To me, it's a crosstown trail. So
there's gaps in there that is private property. I think we need to discuss this okay.
There's no private. I'm not aware of any private property in there.
Well, I think this needs to be discussed in detail more. But anyway, so go ahead. So, but you said there is a way to connect, is what you're saying.
Somebody from the open space might want to go down and look to see if they concur with my idea. We could put a trail across there.
I think we need to look at a map, Gary, and see where those and pencil in where a new trail would go and see how we can connect it, because I think the connectivity is really important.
I think if you look at that whole line hiking map, is a good map to look at, the one that we created between the land trust and the open space, because there's some gaps there.
I would just mention also that connectivity might be something germane to our future discussion in executive session.
Yeah. True. Okay, well, I'm glad that Evan and I are now distinguished guests.
Okay. Well, I haven't finished yet, so don't get too.
Go ahead.
happy, right?
Okay, well,
Okay, as far as
I'm
our
building
beaver
myself
policy,
up so you can chop me down.
as far as our beaver policy goes, the only policy that we have is we don't want the beavers to do any damage to residents or septics. That's as far as we've gone so far. I mean, there is some discussion about damage to the environment, but from my point of view, that's natural. That happens. The trees that are dead now, they're not going to be replaced for 100 years if we did do something.
Well, the trees, as I was trying to explain to the commission, those trees are serving a biological function even in their so-called dead state. There's actually, as somebody said, there's more life in a dead tree than there is in a live tree.
Well, you're preaching to the choir here.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Okay.
So, I mean, yeah, we agree that there's tons of benefits from the beaver. So the
And I
only
also
suggestion,
think, Gary, 2 years ago, we adopted a policy that stating on beavers, it was before our midsummer festival when we did the display on it. We adopted a policy. So we have a policy on it, written and approved.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Now, to go along with that, the commission had some suggestions as far as the beavers go there. And I mentioned this at our meeting, right? Be proactive, and we should talk to those abutting property owners to see if there is anything going on there, for one.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we get our grant, we should engineer what level we can let those dams go up to, so we don't cause any property damage to those abutting property owners. And if then with that money, we're suggesting that we get 2 deceivers in there, one at the culvert, one up at the dam up by the power line, or some other place in there. Maybe you get another deceiver, you'll be able to get the trail back across there. And keep in mind that if that culvert ever gets blocked and we get a heavy rain, the overflow goes over Whippoorwill. So my experience with the water going over the highway, after a while, the highway disappears. And
That culvert on Whippoorwill is the town of Old Lyme, not town of Old Lyme open space. So we have no authority over there. Okay, that's not a decision for us. That's the town. That's Tim.
The decision, maybe we should talk over with Tim. The decision is a beaver deceiver down there ideally would prevent that thing from being totally blocked up.
Right.
And
We
either way,
suggested that to them 3 years ago, and they chose not to. We can bring it up again.
I would suggest we bring it up at least in writing, because if that thing blocks up and it goes over Whippoorwill, and we knew about it for 4 years, it's going to look bad for the town of Old Lyme.
Yeah, I think that, Gary.
That's everybody.
Gary, I think that maybe to reinforce what we had already told the town when Bonnie was first selectman, she didn't want to spend the money. But if it came as advisory from the Conservation Commission, maybe that would reinforce the whole issue. So I think if it was coming from 2 commissions rather than just one, that would make it.
That's definitely something we could do, and maybe we'll collaborate on how we actually do that. So
good, because
the other point.
Yeah,
okay,
go ahead.
the other point that I had was, we were talking about putting a wooden bridge across where the water is now high.
Yeah.
So we got to either control the beaver level there, or give up that idea, or put some other kind of a bridge in there, like a aluminum ladder type thing. Because right now there's two or three bridges already floating in that area.
I think we decided to, when we went in there, when we're beyond our knees to, we're going to reroute that trail after we get the beaver observation area established. Then we will reroute the trail over there because there's so much water. It would be thousands for a bridge, and it's better. We kind of decided that was a beaver observation area, and we could, and Peter Norris weigh in because you and I talked about this. We could reroute that trail, and we're protecting and preserving nature. So maybe we need to back off for a little bit, create another trail, and then let nature take its course.
Sounds like a good plan to me. And the last thing I have is one of the things the Conservation Commission is going to do is going to assist the Sustainable Connecticut, or OLI, with the watershed education. So if there's and that's really going to be me, I believe. So if any of you folks have some ideas about watershed education, or if that's something that interests you, let me know. Because what I'm trying to do is get somebody from DEEP to come down and either do a video or maybe a town hall by the time they get here. Get some flyers around to different groups, and then I'll be contacting Heather to see if she's got any students that want to work on this. And this would go from education now to the whole watershed plan. That would be multiple year plan.
Gary, you might want to talk to the river steward that works for a young woman who works for the Connecticut River Conservancy. Used to be the Connecticut River Watershed Association. And she may have some, if you check in with the Connecticut River Conservancy and find the name of the Lower Connecticut River steward, she may have some good information on watersheds and education and so forth. So instead of starting from scratch, there's a lot of good information out there on watersheds.
That's the beauty of collaborating with all you guys. You'd probably just save me a year's worth of work there. Anybody else know anything? Got any ideas? Just email me anything, okay?
Yeah.
Gary, I think I can get your contact information for her. I think it's Kelsey Watling, and she spoke before Gateway not long ago. So I think I can get your contact info for
her. I got you on the list for you owe me. Good. Thank you.
I wanted to mention one more thing, Gary, about conservation and its thoughts on the beavers. We explicitly wrote into our grant that we would use a drone to determine exactly where the waters are rising from those dams, and if they are in fact encroaching on private property. So that's a concern. Beavers on open space, let nature be. And in other cases, we'll be happy to work with the homeowners. We'll probably reach out to them if there's an issue and something that was an explicit component of the plan.
Yeah, just be aware.
Are you asking me a question there?
I was just giving you an FYI.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I think drones is the way to go with easements and everything.
Yeah, well, I guess Amanda had looked into trying to do a survey, and with the water level, that seems to be the only way to conduct a survey.
Yeah, I think we need to move this along because we are approaching 11. We have an executive session. Thank you, Gary, for all your work. We appreciate that.
Okay, let's move on to if there's any new business. I don't see anything here, so.
No, I think we finished. We discussed it all.
Andrea's got some.
Oh.
Andrea?
You're muted.
Sorry. Thank you. I was wondering if there was any follow-up with Alex Clippinger, Amanda.
With I'm sorry, who?
Alex Clippinger, who had.
Oh, no, I haven't. I told him I'd be back mid-March and contact him. This is a person who sent me he did some GIS comparisons of flooding in the Ames and could document how the beavers are affecting the territory. I'm going to follow up with him, and I'll be emailing or mention at the next meeting, but no, I haven't.
Okay. That's all.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody else under new business? Okay, moving, if not, let's, anybody from the public who is on this call want to make a comment? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to go into executive session and to discuss property acquisitions.
At 10:37 a.m.
I so move.
I hear a second.
Peter Cable.
Okay.
And just make sure
Any
you
discussion?
stop the recording.
Yeah, yep. I just was gonna check, are you still on, Sarah?
Bye, everybody.
Yeah, I'm just, one quick
Okay.
question. Who moved for executive session?
I moved and Peter Cable second.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you so much.
Okay, I'm
Thank
stopping
you,
the
Sarah.
recording and I'll give you the information to work on the minutes, Sarah.
Okay,
Sorry, I
perfect.
have a
Thank you so much,
question.
everyone.
I don't know if I have to stay or executive session.
No, you,
Alternates can stay. Alternates
Yeah.
can stay.
Can I stay?
yeah.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.